say it. Get these people out of there, bro. This is like a parasite, a cancer growing.
And it's going to just slowly spread.
This is stage 1 cancer, okay?
Yes.
You can actually do a lot to heal yourself from this in the early stages, but you do not want to see this get to stage 4.
Exterminated.
You do not want to see this get to stage 4, man. We've seen this already.
We've seen this.
Yes, like y'all literally seen this already. They created apartheid.
Top hill, just subscribe.
All right, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. Top hill, episode 221. Welcome to another episode of the Top Hill Live. This is the boy, Mr. Top Hill Live, a.k.a. Imani Raw.
And my name is The Carmen.
The Carmen in the building. Yes,
you
sir.
gotta say Imani Raw.
Imani Raw. Keeping it raw and authentic everywhere we go, man. I want to just say appreciate all the love, man, that I've been receiving. Like this first week has been crazy. I've been doing my raw juice fast.
I know that's right. This Monday Night Raw, no affiliation.
Right.
No affiliation.
No affiliation at all, man. But if you guys want to sponsor,
okay.
But yeah,
I'll RKO Monty right now.
She could try. Okay. I've been meaning to get to this video. All right. I hope. Yeah, I feel the same way. I hope this joke doesn't trigger us as bad. But no black people allowed in South Africa. It's a white-only town. or you know what?
How?
Right. You know what? Shoot. I'm just looking at the time. Never mind. We're going to have to do this another episode. We're going to do like one long video per episode. All right. Let's stick with Ethiopia.
I'm interested in that one.
You want to see it?
I do want to see that.
Okay. All right. That's fine. We can get to it. Shout out to Wode Maya, Africa's biggest YouTuber, man. He's been amazing. Loved his content even before I started the show, man. He has visited South Africa. He's been there a couple of times, I'm sure. But he visited a very unique place. This video is titled "No Black People Allowed." No black people allowed in South Africa's white-only town. Now, this is triggering already. The title is triggering. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to hear. I don't know what the heck is going on. South Africa, to my knowledge, is predominantly black.
And they found their own little
Yeah. Also, there's colored, there's Indian, and there's white. And I do know
just no blacks, the colored though. Maybe
no. I said blacks is the dominant.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like in this town, I'm like, I wonder if they allow the coloreds.
They might allow them to drive by. Because, like, from my understanding, how you guys have mentioned it to me, it's like whites had all privilege, coloreds had medium privilege, and blacks had the lowest privilege. And
it's just like, how do we get here as a society?
Yeah. And for this country to be ran, I mean, it's wild that the Europeans came and colonized this part, did what they did. But now, they got their independence, and, they have black presidents and business people and politicians.
Oh, I can't say that. Never mind.
You know what? Before I dig too many holes, let's just go ahead. Let's see what's going on.
I can tell you, though.
What's up? Reverse Greenwood. All right, let's get into it. If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it.
I'm in love with Orania.
Yes.
Can I stay in here?
You're not African.
He said,
"You're not."
No.
Okay, so Afrikaners are descendants. Okay, I'm gonna let him explain it. Shout out to Steiger. Okay, so Afrikaners, I guess, are white people.
What? The Europeans?
Man. Yeah.
Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope on a boat in the year 1652.
I think the Dutch.
Would you
They
say
got
that
there early.
Orania is a controversial town in South Africa?
Orania is definitely. I don't have to doubt it. I know that Orania is controversial.
Orania.
What is happening? Can somebody answer?
Section 235 of the South African Constitution acknowledges the right of cultural groups to self-determination. But what about the Afrikaner enclave of Orania, which also uses race to determine who can be allowed to live in that community?
What the hell?
The main reason why it's
Oh, no, I'm getting
controversial is misperception. I think so. It's my personal opinion. Misperception about Orania. The people who have the most to say about Orania have never visited.
Just say a prayer for my city. Just say a prayer for my city.
And what are your favorite things about Orania?
Have you ever seen a 16 or 17-year-old girl walk around 9 o'clock at night? Anywhere in South Africa?
It's not common.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have burglar guards, and if they leave a bike somewhere, tomorrow morning it's still there.
All right, man.
What?
All right, man. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that black people are violent and have crimes, and white people don't. And
Which is the furthest thing from the truth.
It's not the truth.
Considering how you even got to the country in the first place.
Y'all the most violent people. But okay. Crime has nothing to do with skin color. It has everything to do with economics. When people don't have it, they find a way to get it.
No, but white people will have it.
And then want more. They're just greedy. Oh, man, this is going to come on.
And then
We're triggered.
I want more. Matter of fact, let me try this out. Let me poke you. Like, why?
Right.
Let me stab you. Matter of fact, let me stab this dog. Matter of fact, let me stuff this dog,
Pet
stab
that
it.
dog. Yeah, pet that dog. All right. Okay. This is a long video. We're going to try to get through it as much as we can. We'll still pause, but let's let the Afrikaners
serial killers.
let's let them get their piece off, because I don't know that much about them. I do know that the Dutch did settle in South Africa at one point, which I believe is that separate from when the British settled there as well too, or they're the same. Let me know. I'm not sure.
You know what? I'm just gonna shut my black ass up.
Would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Right.
But I know it's your history.
I knock
but at the
all
end
that
of the
shit
day,
over.
a lot of people were harmed in the process. So you don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu, the Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
Oh, wait.
Say something about Shaka Zulu.
I know you're not talking about Shaka Zulu.
I know you ain't talking about my dog.
That's my dog. Don't talk about Shaka Zulu, man. Saga said we prefer them far away, honestly, in that little spot. Then they don't bother us, and we don't bother them if they think we are the problem. I'm a hold.
Shut your neck, your black ass
I'm
up.
gonna try to hold it off, man. I'm gonna let them speak. Let me see what he said about Shaka.
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu, the Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
Okay, so
that's a question for South Africans.
This is a question for Oranians.
Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
That looks like Hawaii. Is that Hawaii?
I don't even know how to feel right now.
This is South
Should I
Africa.
tell you guys that I'm super scared? Because I'm about to do one of the craziest videos that I've never dreamt of.
And I really respect and can
This
appreciate
particular
that
video
he's
would definitely go down as
not
one of my
only
most
went
sensitive
into
vlogs.
this segregated area, but kept his composure and heard them out. Because, man, that takes a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
And understanding, or the want to know more.
Yeah, and the confidence behind that. And Steiger, I get the point. If you want no violence, and you're like, okay, yeah, they just had their spot, leave them over there. But we come from a place called America where if they don't want you there, they'll move you out. They'll burn the town. They'll do whatever they can.
I was gonna say, you can have your own town all you want.
Yeah,
they don't want you had that either.
There's been plenty of black towns that they stayed to themselves, didn't bother no white people, and they got jealous and they burnt it down and killed a bunch of people.
Multiple times. So this isn't one thing that we're talking about, one incident.
Yeah, this happened multiple times in Black American history. So we look at it a little bit differently. I honestly see most black people being more less violent than other groups of people. I just think that we just grew up in areas that had plenty. Like there was plenty of food and water and land and people were sharing and stuff like that. And then
abundance.
And then a certain group of people came in and changed all of it.
I want some.
Yeah, so
they're right here. You can have some. No, I want some of everything.
I know they want to say
want half.
I know they want to say like modern times black people are violent, they commit crimes and stuff like that. But like, bro, like,
how do we get here?
Do you know how violent colonization is? Like, y'all try to make it seem like it's just like a regular word. Colonization is evil. Like the Atlantic slave trade was evil. I mean, the countless millions and millions of people who died in America, in the Atlantic Ocean, and on the African continent by these groups of people, and they had the nerve to call us violent or criminals. I think it's hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. So, like, for South Africa being a predominantly black country, this is y'all's country. If you guys want your land back that is yours, I don't think that there's a problem with that. And if you have, that's how I feel about it right now. But I'm still learning in real time. I'm a little triggered, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm gonna speak my mind a little bit. He said, because for the most part, we are cool with the English-speaking white Anglo-Saxons, but the Afrikaner, Dutch, French don't want nothing to do with us, nor the Anglo-whites. Okay, so the Dutch, they're not even fucking with the other whites? So it's just
so it's dirty.
So the Dutch is just, they are their own group, but the other white people, the white people that are in the English-speaking British, like, white people, y'all are cool with. That makes sense.
Isn't Elon a little Dutch?
Yes.
South African guy?
Elon Musk.
His tribe of people?
Elon Musk is derived from the Dutch in South Africa. So that would be very interesting is Elon Musk from this area? Or his parents from this area?
Yeah, I'm like...
That's very interesting. All right, let's see. Let's get to it. Man.
Ever.
I mean, I'm currently in Cape Town, driving to a town that so many South Africans don't want to hear about. I mean, if I talk about South Africans, I'm talking about black South Africans, indigenous South Africans, people that were here before the settlers came in here. Right. I believe that most of you have heard of the town.
In my whole lifetime, I never thought I would come across a town within the land of black people where blacks are not allowed to live in there.
That's insane to me.
People out there believe that Orania is a racist model. Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
No.
So what is it then?
It's a culture town. It's a culture town. It's an Afrikaner town. The narrative is
with your fedoras.
Out there
this is the culture.
If you preserve your culture, you're racist, and that's not true.
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land, right, and no one is allowed to come in.
Facts. Thank you, Wode Maya.
In this town,
they won't allow it.
Never.
If I have to decode the white only, right, I'm talking about Afrikaans only. So if you're a black man like me, you cannot stay there.
We say Orania is a community for Afrikaners. It's not an issue just white in, black out. It's a question of culture.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land
that's not yours.
Well, that is whole nother debate.
If that is the case, then let's bring the other debate.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa.
Oh my God.
White South Africans make up about 8% of the population, but they hold about 3/4 of privately owned land in the country. In contrast, only 4% of privately held land is owned by black South Africans, who make up nearly 80% of the country's 60 million residents.
I'm sure that you guys know that white people were not originally from South Africa. Like, they migrated in the late 17th century from Netherlands, France, England, Germany, in short, from Europe. I mean, they were immigrants in South Africa, but they forcefully colonized the people. Actually, no. They enslaved the owners of the land, the black South Africans. This is something that Donald Trump doesn't know, by the way, so you're welcome.
Of the decision.
Last month, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law a bill that allows the government to expropriate property for public purposes or in the public interest, in some cases without compensation.
Well, I don't think land expropriation without compensation is a good idea. I think if you realistically look at the amount of land that the South African government has, that the big communities like the Unyama Trust have and so on, I think the land is not the problem. The problem in South Africa is economic problem, and there's actually been research done on that, proving that people don't necessarily want land, they want a better economic future. Most people don't want to be farmers. To farm is a tough job, it's not a very rewarding job in terms of money and so on. I also think that the South African economy will collapse if there is land expropriation without compensation.
Interesting. And I want to include you in this conversation, so let me know what you think in the comment section. But don't forget to like this video because it's very important to me.
Welcome back. Orania, an Afrikaner-only town in South Africa, has weighed in on the US President Donald Trump's order halting financial aid to South Africa and offering refugee status to Afrikaners.
But this is what Afrikaners think about Trump's offer.
We are not necessarily interested in tax dollars and handouts and help. What we want, we already got to an extent. We want recognition. We want recognition from abroad. We want recognition locally, and we want recognition from our peers. That is to say, firstly, those people are a people upon themselves, and this, they have the right to make certain decisions for themselves. That is what we want. We don't want people's money. We don't want people's handouts. We as Orania want larger recognition, greater recognition. And I think that is not too much to ask. Actually, I think that's very reasonable.
Why? If you are so happy with your own little town, why do you need recognition from the outside world or the local government? If you got what you want, like you said, what's the point? Why?
It's just the extra fuck you.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of ego and pride right there.
And probably you might be wondering, what do Black South Africans feel about this?
Orania can't be a folk state. It is actually what I consider to be a micronation. It's just like a small, considered. It has certain independencies. They have their own currency.
It is, yeah.
What?
When I picked up on that, I realized that there's a measure of sovereignty that is not complete.
Yes.
You guys might be wondering, how did I got to know about this town within South Africa? So recently I found myself in South America on a project of connecting Africans in the diaspora with Africans living in Africa. So I found myself in Suriname, and I came across this village called Dahomey. And within Dahomey,
shout out to Dahomey.
No white person is allowed in this village. So out of curiosity...
All right, we got to do that video next. I forgot that he did that. So the Dahomey people are where Disney actually got the Dora Milaje tribe, the black women warriors, the Dahomey tribe. So, yeah, we should definitely do that too. But I'm biased. They have a reason. Y'all were stealing people, killing people, murdering people, enslaving people.
This is like just the equivalent of, well, they did it, so we're going to do it.
Right. So, like, the Dahomey has no, like, we know what y'all did. We don't fuck with y'all. Stay away from us.
This is them trying to like gaslight everyone.
Yes. They're the king of gaslighters, man.
I was like, you know what? I need to go find out why no white person is allowed. I was told that no white people are allowed in this village. Is that true?
Do ya?
Why?
The spirit that they have here is a warrior spirit who fought against the European in the slavery time. And every time that the warrior spirit see white people, he get aggressive, so they want to fight. That's why they don't allow white people to come here.
What will happen if a white person comes here?
They said we feel that spirit. Wait, what did she say? Hold on, no, I missed it. What she say?
Then comes here.
That's...
Oh, damn!
Straight up, she said.
And when I released the video, the next video that came into my feed was a video of a friend of mine, by the way. His name is Joshua. He's a YouTuber based in Cape Town, talking about this town within Africa that no black person is allowed in there. And I'm like, you know what? They say curiosity kills a cat, right? So I guess with the African audience that I have, I personally want to go there as an African, as a black man, just to understand what is the motive behind it.
They just like politely was like, could you leave? You cannot stay here. You're not welcome.
Literally, they have everything in here.
They have their own currency.
Wow.
That's insane.
I made it to Orania, and believe me or not, this is not the Orania that I was expecting.
Imagine if, like, Atlanta decided, like, you know, this is going to be our town. We're going to have our own currency and stuff like that. Man, Trump will walk up in there so fucking quick with the army, the National Guard. It's like, y'all going to use, what y'all talking about?
Like, it's the state of emergency. They're terrorists.
Yeah, like they're
blow it up, blow up the entire Atlanta.
They're gonna call you domestic terrorists. That's what they're gonna do. Like, it just all depends on who's telling the story here. It's crazy.
Because when I got here, I found a country within South Africa.
Are we looking at the Republic of Orania?
I think there's different levels to freedom. I think our dream, we as Afrikaners, we love republics. We've created maybe about 20 in South Africa. Only 2 of them survived long term. It was the Republic of the Transvaal and the Free State. So we are people who love republics. Our ideal form of government is a republic. And I hope that one day, maybe my children will see it.
Good morning,
what is your
or should I say sunrise. from Orania. Today is actually my first day waking up from Orania, and it was such a peaceful night. But it's kind of crazy to know that I'm the only black man in here. I mean, it's so crazy knowing that you just woke up in a white-only town.
Yeah, like how'd you pull that off?
Yeah, I'm surprised they allowed them to say.
We feel so patriotic about our community.
It's probably
so
their way
proud.
of like trying to get
it's
recognition.
Still small, you know? But we're so proud of the things that we have achieved.
Today, Orania operates like its own micronation. The town of about 3,000 people run its own economy, and one of the backbones of their economy is agriculture.
Do you guys export this?
Yes. So we sell it outside, it brings money into our economy. Another interesting thing, obviously, is that here we can do something that a lot of farmers can't do, and that is we can plant 2 harvests in 1 year. So we plant the wheat in the summer, just before Christmas, this is harvested. It's plowed very quickly, and the farmers work 20 hours a day to get it done. They harvest, they plow, they plant, and then it's maize. So your next harvest is maize, and you harvest that in the winter. In June, July, and when that goes out, you've got a short time to put in the wheat again. So
all the farmers live in Orania?
Obviously, there's farms surrounding Orania as well. Okay. This is an Orania farmer, this one.
So who owns this farm?
An individual farmer owns it. It is part of Orania, but an individual farmer owns this land, and the farmer works it for their own benefit and revenue and takes the risks for themselves.
It's really mind-blowing to see a town with just 3,000 people owning their own solar farm. Does it mean that like you guys don't depend on the national grid?
We're still connected to the national grid.
Yeah.
So at the moment we're approximately 45% independent from the utility, and the dream is to go the whole way.
What is the idea behind this whole solar farm, and which year did it begin?
It began in 2021.
Recent.
Recently.
Very recent.
What is the main reason why you established your own solar farm, knowing that you live within South Africa?
The main reason for Orania is that we want to be, from the start of Orania, we wanted to be independent on many levels. And one level is energy. Our energy, if you're not energy independent, you're not free.
What makes you feel so proud as an Oranian? Should I say Oranian or South African?
Yeah, Oranian. We're Oranians. We're in South Africa. We not loose from South Africa. They are our neighbors. We pay taxes in South Africa.
I wonder what their police looks like. How do they kind of patrol the area? Because
they're making it seem like they don't got crime like that, so they don't need it. But
yeah, but like if it's a white-only town, there has to be someone enforcing these rules.
And it's only 3,000 people. That's a very small amount of people. It sounds like
giving
a lot of
cult
incest. A lot of it, like some Game of Thrones stuff going on in here. Steiger said, "Oh yeah, good luck to you guys. Trump has offered refugee status to Afrikaners who are apparently 70K of them. 70% of them have applied for U.S. refugee status. So
let me get this straight. We're excommunicating all of the brown refugees and integrating the white
ones. Yeah, that's always been their plan for sure.
They are doing everything in their power to get their numbers up.
Yeah, I already knew that this was going to happen. I think this is going to get worse and worse because, what's going on, guys, is like the white population in a lot of these countries, especially like in America, according to the census, about the year 2050, white people will no longer be the majority population in the United States of America. So,
you know how like organized you have to be as a people for like white people from all corners of the earth to be like, nah, we have to do something about this.
Yeah, I mean that's what they seem like. They realize black people are everywhere. So they want to keep their race and stuff like that. Things have to be done, and they're not going to just openly, outwardly say it like that. Some will, but governments are not going to say it. But this is what's happening. So that's why in America they're kicking out a lot of the immigrants that are coming over here because the Hispanic population is growing rapidly. The white people are not having enough children. You know what I mean? So, you said 70,000. I thought that they said the town it only had 3,000 people.
I thought they said that too.
He said 70,000. Because not all Afrikaners live in Orania. Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, it's a total of 70,000, whereas Orania holds 3,000. I got you. Okay, so Orania is the town of these people, and that's only they can live. But Oranians live around there as well too. Got you. Makes sense. But yeah, they can come over here in America with all that shit if they want to. They fuck around and find out. Anyway.
I mean, we still got some downtowns. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, they probably pull up to Mississippi or
pull up to the right,
Alabama.
The right city in
Sunbelt,
Georgia.
Sunbelt states. Yeah, some parts of Georgia, yeah. All right.
Oranians.
Schools in Orania do not teach in English as the rest of South Africa, but rather Afrikaans.
Do you have a school in here?
We have two high schools, primary and secondary, and then we also have a college,
really
tertiary training. We are dreaming to build our own Afrikaans university.
And you teach in Afrikaans?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything we do is Afrikaans. And studies show that children who are taught in their mother tongue perform better than children who are taught in another language. Like
are you against the business system?
Well, I'm definitely against the Bala law that's currently being implemented.
What is that?
That is a law that gives the state control of the schools rather than the parents of the schools. So we're very much against that. I think it's the state grabbing the power of schools, taking away people's rights. There's a lot of religious issues with that. There's a lot of cultural issues with that. So South Africans are actually very angry about that. That's why the schools that we built here, we get zero state funding. We don't get a cent from the government. And it's also not expensive, so all the extra money that we need for our schools, we have to raise with projects.
So does it mean that like all the people that study in this school are from Orania? Do you get people out of Orania?
Just, surrounding farms and so on also come here. And then the college, tertiary training, people from around the country also come to study here.
You can study here, but you can't live in here.
Well, they can. All of them can apply for the right to citizenship in Orania, definitely.
Citizenship?
Citizenship is
the college in Orania don't believe in theory only, but rather practicals, because they believe that the children are the ones that will be able to build the future of Orania.
You have a college in Orania?
We identified the need to train our people in physical skills. Plumbing, electrical work, and masonry to build houses, and that sort of skills. And that's why we started the college. In 2019, we had only 5 students. 2020, 50. And now there's about 124. We're expecting more than 200 next year.
So this is more like a plumbing practical class?
Yes.
Wow.
124 people?
So the first groups of students made everything, and now
I ain't gonna lie, I know I'm pausing a lot, but this is actually really important. As much as I do not agree with, what they're doing, I think that this is something that you can learn from. Mm-hmm. They are okay with accomplishing their goal slowly, but in a long period of time. They understand that they're outnumbered. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But what they're doing is they're doing the baby steps. They're planting the seeds now. They're getting their own energy. They have their own school. They have their own infrastructure. Low-key, this is what Dr. Umar be talking about a lot. Like, he be making sense. He's like, look, we have all this black money going around here, and we spend it on bullshit, but where's the school? Where's the hospital? Where's the farmers? Where's all this stuff? This is how they can get stuff done and do these things, because they can be self-sufficient. They're willing to put in the time and the risk to be self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. We're not. That's very unfortunate. Like, yeah.
No, that's a really valid point you bring up, because it's like, in this day and age, I do believe that like we do have the same opportunity if we all put our minds together. So,
yeah. And I know, shout out to some of the people who are doing that. I remember there was one family, it was like 17 family, black people came together and bought a town. Mm-hmm. And I think it was in Georgia. So, like, they did that, but, like, they're going to need help. They're going to need farmers, schools, hospitals, stuff like that. But, like, it's they're not saying it's a black-only town, but it's a town that a family bought together. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just need more.
Now the second and third and fourth generation, they get to use everything the first guys built.
Their life becomes easier.
No, these tables, they built it with their lecturers.
Wow.
I'm really impressed with the infrastructure development in Orania, because a town of about 3,000 people got their own airstrip, and every single road that you see in this town was actually built and financed by the people.
They put their money together.
What do you do in Orania?
My responsibility is the growth of Orania. In other words, in Orania, we don't get any money from the government. We are responsible to create our own economy and your own wealth. So my responsibility is to make sure where is the certain areas that needs to address, and then we address our areas. What we are doing, we have various projects. This is just an example of a few projects that we're currently busy. If you just go outside, you'll see we're currently busy building this place, this building. So it's going to be a 3-story building. That's a building that's being built here, just next to us.
Okay. The question is, how will you fund a project like this?
Okay. What we do is we say there's 2 various companies.
Okay.
The one company is a company that's funding, but it must make commercial sense. And then other company rent it from that company, but it's 2 separate countries. So you must focus on your own business. We must make sure that Orania is growing. We are not in the
free game.
Yeah, for sure.
That was free game.
That was free game. Yeah, I'm paying attention. And a lot of people should pay attention to what's going on, man. This is, good info.
Okay.
So we rent this building from another company, and that company just make economic sense. In other words,
common goal.
Exactly.
They built their own health facilities, and each facility is equipped with ambulance. But if the case is beyond them, they will airlift you to the general hospital in South Africa.
The helipad, we have a helipad here that can be used during emergencies. We have situations where we had needed a helipad to do recons around the area, but also if there are medical emergencies where people need to be moved to hospital, we can airdrop them, we can bring in the helipad. We also have the ambulance services that help us, so we can move people to hospitals if they need to.
Orania got its own bank, and what really shocks me to see that they trade in their own currency, popularly known as the Ora.
This is
their local currency is used within the community to keep the money circulating among residents. Which one is the highest denomination?
So it's easy to distinguish from the rand. The 200 is the highest in value, and it goes all the way to 10 Ora. So you get the 200, 100, 50, 20, and 10, just like the rand currency.
So exchange rates?
Exchange rate is 1-to-1. So 1 rand is equal to 1 Ora. It's just to make administration quite easy, but the benefit of the Ora brings a few benefits to Orania.
So the people of Orania trade with Ora?
That's correct.
I guess you can't.
Would this be relevant when I step out of Orania?
No, because you can only spend it in Orania. That keeps the economy growing. It also makes it more safe to use, because there's not going to be robberies or theft of the Ora, because you can only use it in Orania. And also it's a cultural emblem for our community.
Now I'm learning.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, is it the same price like they sell it everywhere in the country? Yes. That's how it is? Yes. And how am I supposed to pay? Rands or Ora?
You can pay in rand or in Ora.
Oh, you accept both currencies? Yes. That's impressive. It's surprising to see that a town of about 3,000 people have their own manufacturing plant, to the extent that they manufacture things within this town and then sell it to the people out and within South Africa.
We produce here, we design and manufacture here, and then everything goes out with courier. Within a day or 2 is delivered to the customer's door address. And by doing that, we get customers that live elsewhere in South Africa to support an Iranian business.
I've seen this.
So, in order to build the economy of Orania, you have to export products that are made here, and the money comes back here.
Actually, the cult culture is on a rise lately.
That's impressive, man.
Mark my words, mommy.
Orania got their own local government.
Conversation.
I think what is important of it is the fact that it's totally unique.
What makes it unique?
Well, there's no other such town council in South Africa. First, it's free of political parties. There's no political parties in Orania at all. All the people here representing the community are personally nominated and voted for. Secondly,
do they push any type of
we had a settlement with the South African government in the year 2000 about our status as a municipality, giving us the option to first make our own municipal bylaws as a local government, and secondly, to have our own local taxes and levies, which we can use for the development of Orania. So no party politics, no salaries for the elected officials. Obviously, the officials, the head engineer and the head of roads and those people, they get paid. But the elected officials do not get paid for their service to the community, and that's what makes it unique.
Is that Oranian flag?
This is our flag, yes, indeed.
Who is that? Who is this young man in there?
This young man is called the Little Giant.
The Little Giant?
Yeah, it symbolizes rolling up your sleeves to work. So, firstly, because of the fact that we're saying we as a culture, no one is coming to save us, no one is going to build a future for us. What we want to build, we'll have to roll up our sleeves and build ourselves. And secondly, the fact that we do our own work is also represented in that.
So why don't y'all do that in the Dutch?
Is to preserve our culture, to build something for our culture, to preserve our religion. The question, why can't a black person come here, is not the right question. It's more a question like a marriage between two people. It's an exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Yep.
Or, and in your wedding, in your marriage, you're exclusive. Doesn't mean it's not built on hate. It's built on love for our culture. We want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our traditions, our faith, our language. These are the things that we want to preserve.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
Well, that is whole other debate. The land here, we bought, we paid for it.
From who?
Well, at that stage, we bought it from the previous owner, which was the government. All right?
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in.
My family came here in 1683.
1683?
Right. My people, my family arrived here. That is longer than American government official visited Orania a while back. And when I told him that fact, he said, well, that's way longer than my white family's been in America. I said, you guys are here in Africa longer than my people was in America.
Yeah.
So our name is Afrikaners. Our language is Afrikaans. Right. So we feel part of this continent, and maybe people don't agree, but I don't have another home. Obviously I know that I have European roots. 400 years ago. For 400 years my people have been here. I love Africa. I don't want to live any place else. I feel a part of this continent. My language grew, obviously from Dutch, but it grew on this continent. This is the place where I feel at home, and I've been overseas. This is the only place that I feel at home, is Africa.
Teaching that white Jesus.
Oh my gosh, like who are these forefathers?
So there's a bit of symbolism here. So all of these busts have been either thrown away elsewhere, or they've been either donated or thrown away. And we put them in a half circle back here to represent, these men are part of our history. No nation's history is only good, but also no nation's history is only bad. However, all of this is part of our history, and we put it in a semicircle with the symbolism. They cannot look over the edge of the hill. They are in the past, they're part of our history, but they're in the past.
With all the monument that I see, would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Well, I think obviously these are controversial figures, and I think the fact that we put them here in Orania with our own funding, some people are uncomfortable in the rest of South Africa to care for them, to see them in public. And I think that's why Orania is also a solution to a lot of the international conversation about monuments, because this is on private land, private funds, and it's our history.
But I know it's your history, but at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
English-speaking whites?
Oh, wait a minute. They was reckoned with other whites?
Oh my goodness.
When the Union of South Africa was formed in 1910, blacks and other non-whites were given very little rights. In 1948, Afrikaners defeated English-speaking whites to win control of South Africa's government, and apartheid was established. Oh, shit. Apartheid in Afrikaners' word meaning separatism, an official policy of racial discrimination and segregation.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That changes things.
The rabbit hole gets deeper.
Y'all are the ones that built apartheid?
He started this?
And y'all are trying to... Oh, nah. See, y'all lost... Y'all didn't have me in the first half. Second quarter, y'all got me a little bit. I was like, y'all doing stuff really smart. This third quarter right here, this is a wild twist.
Niggas is evil.
Y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all know what y'all doing, bro. South Africa. Yo. This is a big platform. Do I want to say it? I don't know. Should I say it? I'm going to say it. Get these people out of there, bro. This is like a parasite, a cancer growing.
And it's going to just slowly spread.
This is stage 1 cancer, okay?
Yes.
You can actually do a lot to heal yourself from this in the early stages, but you do not want to see this get to stage 4.
Exterminated.
You do not want to see this get to stage 4, man. We've seen this already.
We've seen this.
Yes, like y'all literally seen this already. They created apartheid?
That's like, what?
He said those are the architects of apartheid. Yeah, hell no. Like, the South African government, hell no, man. Y'all can't be using your own currency in this country. not teaching the language. Like that's ridiculous.
Drawing this big divide.
Yeah, and y'all making it seem like it's normal. It's okay. Yeah, we just want our own culture. Yeah, you can have your own culture. There's Chinatowns all over the world, but they still use the U.S. dollar or the rupees or wherever other country they go to. Like they can't just like be like China. No, man, no. The only reason why they're getting away with this is because they're white. I'm sorry. That's it.
That's everywhere.
That's the only reason why they're getting away with this. Nobody wants to step up to them and be like, nah, y'all can't do this. Like, kudos to them for building up their own economy and building up their own infrastructure and working together and stuff like that. Cool, nothing wrong with that. But they're pushing the buttons, and they're purposely saying that they're trying to grow and do more.
You know what's so funny? It's almost like, not even almost like, it's definitely like taking advantage of the situation. Because if you think about it, they wouldn't be able to get away with this shit in their country.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to get their own currency. What? Excuse me?
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Hell no.
Off with your head.
Right.
Like
they're not rolling like that. Yeah, they're taking advantage, man.
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu, Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africans.
This is a question for Orania.
He was more like the architect for apartheid. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that he implemented a lot of policies in the apartheid era. I think the apartheid legacy comes from the South Africa that the British created in 1910. The legal framework that they created at that stage and the realities that follow after that. A lot of the South African black people fought on the British side and did not get recognition or the ability to vote after that. Yes, he continued with some policies, he created new ones, but the reality of South Africa in that context was already set there in 1910.
You don't think it's because of this that's why people have problems with Orania? Because of history like this, because so many South Africans are not happy with this history, even though it's part of them. But I believe, like you just said, let the past be past. I mean, we can never forget our history. But I mean, I feel like this being here, it's more like what do you call it? Like a sword in the eyes of the people of South Africa.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
We have had from the ANC Youth League, we have had influential South African politicians. We have had 2 state presidents of South Africa. Nelson Mandela landed with his helicopter just there. We have had traditional black communities, Xhosas, Zulus. We have had the people of the Barulong tribe. All of them have been there. I have seen in their eyes no offense. They have expressed no offense. They have embraced Orania as a model that they can learn from, and they understand that we have the right to put our history in a context for our people here, for a way that we can explain it to our children and our grandchildren.
While they're young.
But my experience is 2 things I take from Orania. Number 1 is that they're doing it for themselves. And that's the culture that we as black people need to learn fast and hard. Yes. They've got white domestic workers, they build their place. You look at Orania and jealous down. What is wrong with Orania for me is the racism thing. What is right is the fact that those people are building a city right in front of our eyes.
The 10-year plan for Orania is to turn this that you see here, to take this from town to city. And true to our culture, we don't want a big city full of skyscrapers. We're going to build no higher than 3 stories. And we will integrate our agriculture with our city. What we want is a city that feels like farm, because we are farm people. We are people who live in the open, like camping and hunting and outdoor activities. So we want a city that feels like a farm, and we're going to build a rural city. That's our dream. Our businesses, our schools, our Afrikaans university between these agricultural lands here around us.
People out there believe that Orania is a racist model. Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
I do not believe that we are practicing racism. To tell you the truth, I've said it many times that if the question is, are there racists in Orania, I can assure you they are. There are racists in every town in South Africa, and every country in the world will find racists. That is a fact. The Orania model is a model of cultural preservation, and that is not racist. So you might disagree with me, but my personal belief, my honest belief, is that the Orania model is not racist at all. It is, however, a model to preserve something that we hold dear and to create a future where we can live our values, our religion, our language, and share our culture.
We are preserving the white power,
embrace the idea of
white bloodline.
We embrace our freedom ideals. This is who live here.
If you check when South Africa gained independence, if you check the coat of arms of South Africa, it said there is unity.
He put a nice bow on it.
They always do.
He dressed it up really nice.
At the end of the day, I believe what you are practicing in here is not unity in diversity.
I beg to differ.
Can you explain that?
How can there be any diversity in South Africa if cultures are not allowed to be themselves? How can there be any diversity at all? If everyone is the same, there's no diversity. If you have a cultural community and you have the Xhosa people or the Barulong people, and they also embrace their identity, and from a standpoint of knowing who you are, of being proud of your culture, of embracing who you are, you get to a point of self-confidence where you then can put out your hand and say, without anyone forcing us, I can build a diplomatic relationship with this and this, and we can do it on our own terms, community to community. That's unity and diversity. To just write it on a coat of arms doesn't mean anything. To live it by creating your own identity. Identity is needed for diversity. Without identity, there is no diversity.
Based on the conversation we've had so far, I feel like the Afrikaners actually have a problem with English.
Well, we sure have our historical disagreements. I think there's a reason for that. The reason for that is the English took us to the brink of extinction. They took us to the brink of extinction. They almost, in the peace negotiations after the Second War with the English, one of the generals said, if we continue this war, we will be genocided off the face of the earth. We cannot continue this war. At that stage, 30,000 women and children were killed in concentration camps. So they took us to the brink of total stopping to exist. So obviously Afrikaners had a historic feeling of being threatened by that. I think that we are past that and so on, but still we have that colonial force of the national government in South Africa trying to make all the schools English, for example. It's not something we agree with.
If you have that problem with English, I guess black South Africans also need to have a problem with you, because at the end of the day, they were enslaved. They went through, with apartheid that happened. For me being here, I feel like seeing what I'm seeing, with what you're saying, I feel like Orania is glorifying apartheid.
Then I don't think you understand Orania.
I perfectly understand. I understand whatever you're saying. You don't think?
In the Great Trek, in the wars, many of our people were killed by leaders like Degan and Shaka. And there's the issues with the previous regime as well. So our question now is, are we going to hold this as a tit-for-tat game forever? Orania's way of thinking about that is a very niche model. I don't think it's a mainstream idea of thinking about it, but we have our own way of thinking. We view freedom as not being oppressed by anyone and not oppressing anyone. And I think that's not the reality in South Africa anymore. I think, you spoke about apartheid now, so the systems put in place, what is the difference between having a pass under the apartheid regime to go into a certain place to go work and now swiping an ID card to get into a luxury estate to do people's work? What's the difference? You're still living in the township. What is the practical difference?
So are you saying that apartheid still exists in South Africa today?
I think the economic equalities based on race in South Africa still exist. And I think the only place where that doesn't exist, because the people do their own work, is here. And I think there is no going forward unless Afrikaners embrace that model. Listen, what you're not going to get in Orania is people falling on their knees, continuously saying sorry for their history. A lot of people apologized on our behalf for everything, and there's a lot of internal Afrikaner friction about that. But in Orania, you will find solutions. Maybe it's not the nice cherry on top stuff, people feel warm in their hearts, Orania is so nice to us, but you will find long-term solutions in terms of labor policies, in terms of community-to-community relationships, and in terms of the way we think.
Listen, I might not agree with the ideologies of the people living in Orania in certain aspect, but I believe that what they've done in here is super impressive, and I feel like other communities within the continent of Africa can embrace these ideas. I've been talking about self-independent, self-sufficient now. I believe that that's what Kwame Nkrumah's ideology was, and basically everything is here. These guys don't need to step out of Orania. They can actually live here and survive. Let's talk about the continent of Africa. When COVID happened, most of us could not even survive because we just depended on the West. We're dependent on China for survival. But I believe that if we start, building our own communities our own way, knowing that, hey, we're gonna make money and use the money that we make within our community to build our community, I believe that the entire Africa will be super great, man.
Agreed.
What do you think the world can learn from Orania?
I think what the world needs to know about Orania is there's nothing strange about it. It's across the world. You get this whole thing that people come together, and we feel the same as hundreds and thousands of other people. If you look at a country like South Tyrol, they do exactly the same. And I don't think there's anything sinister about it, and the world needs to know that what's going on in Orania is the same what is going on in the kingdom of Zululand or the kingdom of Lesotho or the kingdom of whatever it might be. It's people who feel they need to get together and who think together and maybe work out a better future for themselves.
I don't see a lot of young faces. Sorry, Passport Bros. This is not a destination that you want to go to. Wow.
So, like, I wonder, do the Iranians, like, they travel and then come back like any other place?
Yeah. I wonder if they, like... Oh, I can't remember.
Like, how deep does this cult go? I think so many, like, valid points and good points, nonetheless, were brought up in this video. And, like, a lot of things that we can learn from as a people.
Yeah. And I think that's a sentiment, too. I think the South Africans and Wode Maya and himself, they all kind of agree. They see the same things. Like, we can learn from this. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The proof is there in the pudding.
And, like, as you can see, they're willing to do the long game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, they have goals. They know what they're doing. But they start off with farming. You can't survive as a people if you don't know how to feed yourself. That's number one. You know what I mean? And I think that's another reason why black people in America, like, they took away, like, they made it not cool to do agriculture in America, especially if you're black. We don't have enough black farmers and stuff like that. Like, if Killer Mike did this experiment one time, shout out to Killer Mike, he tried to survive only on black dollar, black everything in Atlanta or in the Georgia area. And it was so hard. Like, he had to try to find black-owned hotels, buses, cars, hospitals, whatever it was. And at one point, he had to sleep on a park bench because of how we just lack that unity that we used to have. You know what I mean? At one point, we had all of that in many different towns, and they just beat it out of us so many times. And now we're so distracted, we don't even care to think about it. We don't see it as important. We just, it's sad because I know what we should be doing and should be focusing on, and none of us care. Like, not enough of us care. And
I also feel like a piece that plays into it is that, like you said, it's just kind of like a sense of defeat because it's like, it's not like we never tried.
Yeah, right. We tried multiple times, and we kept getting punished for it. So, like, after a certain point, you're like, all right, enough is enough. But these people, they almost came to the point of extinction, and they still don't give up. You know what I mean? Like, that's that kind of, like, willfulness and stuff like that we should adapt to. Like, the Japanese, when they got the bomb dropped on them, like, they could have stopped too, but they built up and now have one of the greatest economies in the world. So, like, you know, we have been kicked down for so many times, but I do think it's time that we need to wake up and figure it out. But our culture is so poisoned, you know, at this moment where we're just looked at as the entertainment. That's it. So, yeah. Guys, this has been a really heavy video. I don't know what you guys thoughts on it. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of comments in there. I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be commenting. There's still a lot to learn from this. I do not agree that there should be a white-only town in a black country.
I don't agree with that. Yeah. But, like, there are, like, valid points that they made.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like we said, it is a learning, kind of a learning thing almost. But I don't know. I did go into this with a completely different mindset, and you know they have a way with their words as people, and I do feel like exiting this video, I took a lot more from it versus like my biased opinion when I first came into it.
Yes, I agree. I softened up towards the middle of it. I was like, okay, no, this is really smart. I agree with this. We can learn from this. I get that part. And they, the way how they speak too, they always come off sweet in the middle, right? Where it's like they're like, no, we're harmless, we're cool. They did the same thing, and they did the same thing all over the continent of Africa, bringing in white Jesus, and then they did what they did. So it's hard to trust somebody that has proven themselves to be untrustworthy. Now, this is where the true test comes in, and this is where you can see if they are violent or not. What happens when an Orania girl decides to date a South African, a black South African man? What will happen to that man?
No.
That's what I want to know, because that will be the truth of their true intentions. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with preserving your culture, but you're saying people are not allowed to live in this town. Like they can't visit here. They can't eat. Like you can go to China and eat some Chinese food. Or they can come. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Without an appointment, can I come visit and eat at your restaurant?
Right. So that's what I want to know. Can an Oranian girl date a black African man? And what will happen to that man if he does decide to do that? Because it does look like they're very much against cultural mixing.
They're like, we're preserving the bloodline.
Yeah. But I digress. Shout out to Wode Maya once again, man. It was brave to do this kind of video, man.
Absolutely.
Top hill, top hill, top hill. They don't